It is beyond the scope of this particular presentation to go into an extended analysis of how religions change and grow. It should, however, be clear from the dialogical emphasis of my remarks above that there is at least a threefold task facing religions in this emergent second axial age. First, there should be a turning away from provincialism, tribalism, and self-protective institutionalism towards an openness to dialogue with other faiths and traditions. Secondly, the encounter between religions is by no means to be structured along the lines either of a bland universalism or of an unbridgeable pluralism or incommensurability. The goal of such an encounter, rather, is a quest for a truth and a wisdom transcending and transforming the individual religions. Third, such a coming together of the religions is rendered more urgent by the common problems and challenges that face us in the 21st century. The increasing militarization evident throughout the world and the concomitant need for disarmament, the imperatives of peace, ecological sustainability, poverty and hunger, especially in the southern hemisphere, and the attendant challenge of a more just world order, to mention only the most urgent of our challenges. Let me say a few words about each of the three tasks. First, overcoming tribalism and self-protective urges. Religious teachings and motifs have always traveled, and religions have influenced each other since ancient times, so that claims of purity and singularity on the part of religions are often quite suspect and, in fact, inaccurate. Wilfred Cantwell Smith, the eminent historian of religions, provides an example, just one, that is apposite in this context. Discussing the spiritual conversion of Leo Tolstoy from a successful worldly figure to a religious ascetic towards the end of his life, Smith documents the importance of one particular story or fable in Tolstoy's life that served as a catalyst for his transformation. It is the story of a man who, fleeing from a furious beast, falls into a well, and to prevent himself from falling all the way down and into the mouth of a devouring dragon at the bottom of the well, clings desperately to a bush. As luck would have it, however, there are two mice, one black and one white, that nibble away at the roots of this bush. The bush, which initially seems to promise at least a temporary reprieve, soon loses its appeal. It will not, it becomes clear, be able to withstand the ineluctable erosion caused by the mice. Commenting on this fable in his autobiographical Confession, Tolstoy writes, "This is no fable. It is a real, unanswerable truth." Smith, in a fascinating narrative, traces the history of this story from an account of the lives of the saints, early Christian saints, Barlaam and Josaphat, in Christian hagiography via Greek, Georgian, and Islamic versions of a story that is ultimately Buddhist in origin. It is, in fact, a retelling of the Buddha's own life story, with the Buddha turning his back on family, riches, and worldly power in his quest for enlightenment. At the time of his renunciation, he was not yet a Buddha or a fully awakened being, but a future Buddha or a bodhisattva. This word, bodhisattva, Smith tells us, appears in the Manichaean version as bodhisaf, in the Arabic version as Yudasaf, in the Georgian as Eosaf, in the Greek also as Eosaf, and in the Latin as Josaphat. This story illustrates in miniature what historians of religion have demonstrated at greater length and in much greater detail, namely the outside influences on each of the world's major religions, so that claims of purity and singularity and a monolithic structure are highly dubious. The overcoming of self-protective institutionalism is as challenging a task as that of transcending provincialism and self-enclosure. The recent history of the Catholic Church in dealing with the child abuse scandals, first by denying such allegations and then in attempting to protect its priests and the institution itself, from public scrutiny and accountability is not an edifying one. It takes a rare degree of courage to put considerations of truth, justice, and rightness over self-protection and institutional survival.